Hey there, so a few weeks ago I talked about a first ascent, climbing a cliff face no one else had ever done. I'm at the top of that rock face. As you can see here behind me, there are no bolts. We had to set up our own gear to set up a top rope. And I wanted to show you the vantage point of what it looks like, what the climb looked like from the top down. I'm going to try to put my phone over the edge without dropping it and showing you what it looks like from the top. Just a second here. Yeah, it's hard to tell until you get on the rope what the climb is going to entail or how difficult it's going to be. This rock climb looked very, very difficult. This is why I kind of like rock climbing in some cases is you can look at an obstacle, look at it and think, there is no way you're going to be able to climb up that thing. There's no way to conquer it. It's impossible. And then with modern gear, specialized rock climbing shoes and a harness and a rope and anchors, carabiners, all that stuff that we use, actually you find out with effort and practice you can do really hard things and excel. But it takes a lot of cases more than what you can do on your own. You know, you need a belayer, someone that's experienced in helping you to ascend a rock. So anyway, so I wanted to talk to you a little bit about models. You guys ever get involved with models? And when I was growing up, Star Wars was a big thing back then too, and everyone seemed to have some sort of model, you know, some spacecraft. And I thought a lot about that. What is a model? You know, if it's a good model, it's supposed to be a representation of the real thing in life. You know, maybe it's 1/100th the size. You know, I had a model of a F-16 I thought was very cool. And it was supposed to be, you know, scale model of the real thing. And I thought a lot about models. You know, are there people in your life that you could model, become a smaller version of that person? Are there worthy people in your life that if you took their different characteristics and modeled that and imported that into your own life, would you be a better person? You know, are there people that you know that are very courageous? You know, I think even at your age, starting a brand new school with no friends, moving to a new area, takes a lot of courage. Are there people in your life that do this and they do it well? They know how to make friends quickly. It doesn't bother them. New friends, new school, new area. Can you model that behavior in your life? Are there people in your life that you would consider very successful, either financially or with a family or however successful? And can you study them and model what they did to become successful? Are there people in your life that are very patient? And do you study them, make them part of your life? You know, it's interesting. I had an experience with a friend. This is also related to rock climbing. This is years ago, before I was married or living down here in southern Utah. So we were up in Little Cottonwood Canyon, I believe, and there's a climb that's called the Coffin. And it's appropriate. It's a crack that goes up probably about 80 feet or so. Seemed like it was really high. And then at the anchors, we didn't do the second pitch, but the first pitch, there's some anchors just under this big roof. And so there was no bolts, so you have to place your own gear as you're going up. And it took me a while. It probably took me 20 minutes or 25 minutes to get to the top of this thing. And this almost dead vertical. It wasn't hard for your arms, but my legs and my calves were just burning as I got to the top of this thing. And so I set up the top anchor and then put myself on belay so I could have the guy at the bottom come up. And he got about halfway up, and then he just couldn't advance. He was there for at least, trying to figure out this one move, at least 20 minutes, probably 30 minutes. He would rest on the rope for a minute, try to figure out the moves, and I would give encouragement and just kind of waited for him to figure it out. I didn't really think I was being patient, but he got to the top of that climb and he was so impressed. He told me multiple times how patient I was, and but I was just enjoying, really being outside, enjoying the environment. So just a small example, but are there people in your life that are very patient, and can you model that? You know, there's some people in your life that are very kind. What do they do to show that kindness? Can you bring that into your life and model that? There are people in your life that are very forgiving, and they've gone through very difficult things in their lives, and they've had tragedies happen to them, maybe at the hands of other people. And are they willing, and do they forgive that person? Is that something, a virtue that you should model in your life and take that example? Are there people that are fearless, you know, in the face of danger or face of difficulty, that continue moving forward even though the way is very hard? Fearless people, not stupid, not seeking out danger just for the thrill. That's totally different, and I don't rock climb in that sense. We are very cautious. If you were to come and watch us, you would probably get bored within the first 10 or 15 minutes because we are very slow in setting things up and making progress. Do you know people that are fiercely loyal to principles or to other people? You know, I've got a friend that is fiercely loyal to his other friends. If I was to say in his presence, you know, something negative about one of his friends, I know what he would say. He would say, well, that's not my understanding of that person. Here's how I feel about this person. And he would come to that person's defense without reservation. And he would do it right away on the spot. I know how he would act. And is that a characteristic that you should model? You know, I don't worry what he says about me when he's with other friends because I know what kind of person he is. So is that something you should model in your life? You know, do you get together as friends, and if you don't have one friend with you, do people start talking negatively about that person who is your friend? Do you come to their defense, or you just roll along with it, even though sometimes what is being said is not true, or even if it is true, should not be said unless that person has a right or an option, an opportunity to defend themselves. So very fiercely loyal. Another example of this friend being loyal is he has a friend that he feels like is innocent of the crime he's been accused of. And this friend has been in jail for over a year, and he's visited him every single week for a year. And if he's not visiting, he lets family take that role. So it's either him or his family that's always there every single week, visiting with him, trying to help him, strengthen him, do whatever they can do to help. Is that a characteristic that you should model in your life? So another characteristic, you know, do you know someone, sorry, bugs flying in my face. Do you know someone that's very tenacious? You know, meaning they don't give up. They put a goal in their mind and they don't ever give up. You know, one of the movies I think about is Eddie the Eagle. I don't know if you've watched that movie. It's great. It's a great movie. I think you should watch it. This guy had a goal in his mind. He was going to be in the Olympics no matter what. And he's, you know, as a kid, he said, "Oh, I'm going to be the person that can hold my breath the longest, you know, or I'm going to be a pole vaulter," and he'd practice pole vaulting. And he'd go through all these different renditions of different things he could do. Like he got to be really good at downhill skiing and got kicked off that team for whatever reason. But at the very end, he came to ski jumping, and he learned how to ski jump, even though everyone told him he shouldn't do it and it was impossible. He did it anyway. Very tenacious. Great characteristic to model in your life. So all of these examples are of people in your life that have these different characteristics, are there for a reason. They're there to help you improve yourself, to take that example and to grow, to learn, to become better. You know, I would recommend take a mental note, write these things down, write these attributes, make a life plan. How do I become more like these people? What can I do in my life to become more like them? And work on them one thing at a time. You know, you don't build a model all at once. You don't throw everything together and just glue it all together. That would be just a mess. What you do is you take one piece at a time, usually starting with the frame, and you build out from there. One thing at a time, one logical step at a time, and becoming the best person that you can. There's great value in seeing people for their best qualities and using them to make yourself a better, more capable person.